So, viewers, today's topic is disaster management. We will study the topic in two parts. So, this is the part 1 of disaster management, that is post disaster risk recovery phase. By definition, as per Oxford Dictionary, a disaster is a sudden accident or a natural catastrophe that causes great damage or loss of life. According to WHO, a disaster can be defined as any occurrence that causes damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life, or deterioration of health and health services on a scale sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside the affected community or area. Now, Disaster Management Act 2005 in India uses the following definition for disaster. Disaster means a catastrophe, mishap, calamity, or grave occurrence in any area arising from natural or man-made causes or by accident or negligence which result in substantial loss of life or human suffering or damage to and destruction of property or damage to or degradation of environment, and is of such a nature or magnitude as to be beyond the coping capacity of community of the affected area. Now, what is hazard and what is disaster? There is a difference. In simple terms, a hazard is a dangerous situation or event that carries a threat to human. A disaster is an event that actually harms humans and disrupts the operations of society. So, hazard will be considered disasters once they affect humans. But if they occurs in an unpopulated area, they will remain hazards. Now, impact of disaster. Emergencies and disaster affect health and well-being of people. Large number of people are displaced, killed or injured or subjected to greater risk of epidemics. Considerably economic harm may be there, great harm to the existing infrastructure and threaten the future of substantial development. Now comes to the types of disaster. It may be natural or man-made. In natural, there may be two types, major or minor. In major, flood, cyclone, hurricanes, drought, tornado, earthquake, volcanic eruptions, landslide, avalanches, tsunamis. And in minor natural types include cold waves, snowfall, thunder or storms. Hurricanes, cyclone and typhoons are all the same weather phenomenon. We just see different name for these storms in different places. In an Atlantic and Northern Pacific, the term hurricane is used. The same type of disturbance in the Northwest Pacific is called a typhoon. And cyclone occurs in South Pacific and Indian Ocean. A tornado is a violently rotating column of air that spins while in contact with both the surface of Earth. Now, man-made is also of two types, major and minor. Major include setting of fire, epidemic, deforestation, air pollution, wars, and minor include accidents, food poisoning, building collapse, explosion, drowning. Except natural disaster, all other disaster can be prevented, and natural disaster can be predicted and its impact can be reduced significantly. Now, disasters in India. India ranks second in the world for natural disasters after China. On the basis of geographic and climatic consideration, India can be divided into 5 zones according to its proneness to natural disaster. First, northern mountain region including foothills. This region is prone to strong snowstorm leading to landslides and strong cold waves, and also is earthquake prone belt with violent subterranean volcanic activities. Indo-Gangetic plains, heavy rains during monsoon make these plain vulnerable to floods. Deccan Plateau is a drought prone area. The western desert is drought prone area, and coastal area are very prone to sea erosion, cyclones and tidal waves. Now, of 7,516 kilometer long coastline, close to 5,700 kilometer is prone to cyclones and tsunamis. Indian Ocean is one of the major cyclone prone region of the world. Now, about 59% of the land area of India is liable to seismic hazard damage. In this picture, there are 5 zones. Zone 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th are having seismic activities. Now, river floods are most frequent and most devastating. Over 40 million hectares, that is 12% of the land of India, is prone to floods and river erosions. About 18.6 million area flooded annually. Regarding drought, 16% of the total area is drought prone and 50 million people are annually affected. Now, what are the diseases to be monitored when people are housed in a temporary shelter because of disaster? Diarrheal disease, respiratory complaints, tuberculosis, measles, scabies, malaria, tetanus and anemia. Now, comes to the disaster management cycle. There are 3 key phases of activity within the disaster management: pre-disaster, during disaster and post-disaster. Pre-disaster, that means before a disaster, to reduce the potential for human, material or environmental losses caused by disaster and to ensure that these losses are minimized when the disaster actually strikes. During disaster, it is to ensure that the needs and provisions of victims are met to alleviate and minimize suffering. Post disasters, after a disaster, to achieve rapid and durable recovery which does not reproduce the original vulnerable condition. So, a typical disaster management continuum comprises 6 elements. The pre-disaster phase include prevention, mitigation and preparedness, while the post-disaster phase include response, rehabilitation, reconstruction and recovery. The action plan is based on 5 points. Mitigation, that means to reduce risk. Preparedness, that is to see how ready the state is to deal with a disaster response. Response, that is how prompt the response is and whether it is on the guidelines of incident response system. Rehabilitation, that is to rehabilitate the victim, and reconstruction, that is to rebuild the infrastructure with defense against disaster mechanism. Now, disaster impact and response. Most injuries are sustained during the impact, so the greatest need for emergency care is required in the first few hours. To reduce the casualty, it could be phased as primary phase, secondary phase and tertiary phase. Primary phase, and the duration is up to 6 hours. It includes neutralize hostile environment, recover live disaster, establish perimeter security. Second phase duration is 6 hours to 24 hours. It includes organized debris removal, establish public health measures, transportation. And tertiary phase, the duration is 24 to 60 hours. It includes arrange food, clothing and shelter for survivor, arrange social service, employment and rehabilitation. Now, management of mass casualty. The management of mass casualties can be further divided into search and rescue, first aid, triage, stabilization of victims, hospital treatment and redistribution of patient to other hospital if necessary. Field care of victim, there should be proper care through casualties require redirection of the healthcare services and redirection of other resources to this new priority area. Most injured person converge spontaneously to health facilities using whatever transport is available. Bed availability and surgical services should be maximized. A center should be established to respond to inquiries from patients, relatives and friends. Priority should be given to victims' identification and adequate mortuary space should be provided. Now, what is triage? When the quantity and severity of injuries overwhelm the operative capacity of health facilities, a different approach to be adopted. The principle of first come, first treated is not applied. What are different definition for triage? That is, include approach that can provide maximum benefit to greatest number of injured in a major disaster situation, or it may be defined as sorting out and classifying casualties. And other definition is the triage done at the site of disaster, casualty department, resuscitation area, X-ray department, ward and OTs. Triage approach. Since the health manpower resources are in shortage as compared to casualties, the injured survivor are classified depending upon the severity of injuries and chances of survival with medical supervision. This is called as triage approach. The triage approach system consists of color coding of victim in priorities carried out at the site. What is color code? Color code system in triage? There are 4 colors: red, yellow, green and black. Just like traffic light, red, yellow and green. Red means high priority treatment or transfer. Yellow, medium priority. Green, ambulatory patient. And black for dead or moribund patient. Priority should be fixed at triage site. There are 3 levels of priority: priority 1, 2 and 3. Priority 1 include critically and severely ill patient who need immediate resuscitation and life and limb saving surgery within 6 hours. It corresponds to the red color code. Priority 2, moderately ill, it requires resuscitation and early surgery in next 24 hours. It corresponds to yellow code. Priority 3rd, minor illnesses, that correspond to green code. Now, clinical principle of management of casualty: all patients should be kept in same ward irrespective of age and sex so that the whole attention can be concentrated in one ward. All patients should be identified with tags stating their name, age, place of origin, triage category, diagnosis and initial treatment. Now, identification of dead. Care of dead include removal of the dead from the disaster scene, shifting to the mortuary. Identification, proper respect for the dead is of great importance. Now, different principle of management of dead bodies. Death occur as a result of disaster does not pose a risk of infection. Mass grave should never be used. Under no circumstances mass cremation should be take place when this goes against the cultural and religious practices. It is necessary to exhaust every effort to identify bodies and at last bury unidentified in individual graves. This is a basic human right of the surviving family members. Now, relief phase, it reduces the impact of disaster and it is long-term result. This phase begins when the assistance from outside start to reach the disaster area. The type and quantity of humanitarian relief supplies are usually determined by 2 main factors: the type of disaster, since distinct events have different effects on the population, and the type and quantity of supplies available locally. Disaster managers must be prepared to receive large quantities of donation. There are 4 principal components in managing humanitarian supply: acquisition of supply, transportation, storage and distribution. Immediately following a disaster, the most critical health supply are those needed for treating casualties, preventing the spread of communicable disease. Now, epidemiological surveillance and disease control. Different principles are there. That is, include implement as soon as possible all public health measures to reduce the risk of disease transmission. Organize a reliable disease reporting system to identify outbreak and to promptly initiate control measures. Investigate all reports of disease outbreak rapidly. Rehabilitation, it start after closure of the relief phase. No more dependency for basic need are now required. Restoring mental and physical health and stability of a community, instilling principle of sustainable livelihood, empowering victims or survivor, should lead to better development. Rehabilitation starts after initial crisis is over. In the first week after disaster, the pattern of health need will change rapidly, moving from casualty treatment to routine primary health care, that is food supply, water supply, basic sanitation and personal hygiene, vector control, and priority also will shift towards environmental health measures. Regarding water supply, a survey of the all public water supplies include distribution and water sources should be made. It is essential to determine physical integrity of system, component, the remaining capacity, and the bacteriological and chemical quality of water supply. The first priority of ensuring water quality in emergency situation is chlorination. It is the best way of disinfecting water. Regarding food supply, poor hygiene is a major cause of foodborne disease in disaster situation. In shelters or camps, kitchen sanitation is of utmost important. Personal hygiene should be monitored in individuals involved in food preparation. Basic sanitation and personal hygiene include many communicable diseases spread through the fecal contamination of drinking water and food. Every effort should be made to ensure the sanitary disposal of excreta. Emergency latrine should be made available to the displaced where toilet facility have been destroyed. Washing, cleaning and bathing facility should be provided to the displaced person. Regarding vector control program for vector-borne disease should be intensified. Special concern are dengue fever and malaria, that is caused by mosquitoes. Flood water provides ample breeding opportunity for mosquitoes. A large number of refugees and people migrated to nearby urban areas, creating an urban slum, unemployment, psychological disorder, that is depression and anxiety, and also have effect on mortality rate of that area. Reconstruction and development measure to rehabilitate human communities and natural ecosystem are critical in post disaster situation. Reconstruction is a much longer term activity that will involve permanent rebuilding, improved infrastructure, and the recovery with enhanced preparation for the next climate change related event. It should aim to build a better standard than what existed before, that is build back better principle. Rehabilitation versus reconstruction. Rehabilitation consists of action taken in the consequences of a disaster to enable basic services to resume functioning, assist victims, self-help effort to repair dwelling and community facilities, and to facilitate the revival of economic activities that include agriculture. Rehabilitation focus on enabling the affected population to resume more or less normal, that is pre-disaster pattern of life. And reconstruction is a permanent construction or replacement of severely damaged physical structure, the full restoration of all services and local infrastructure, and the revitalization of economy that also include agriculture. Reconstruction must be fully integrated into ongoing long-term development plans, taking account for future disaster risk. It must also consider the possibilities of reducing those risks by the incorporation of appropriate mitigation measures. Next part should be covered in another slides. Thank you.